Improving your art requires just two things: practice and patience. But just mindlessly drawing something will only get you so far. You need to practice the right way. I compiled a list of 5 practicing techniques so that you can reach the next level. The first technique is drawing from life. Everybody knows it, yet I don't see many people doing it. Yep, me included. Drawing from life is often associated with life drawing courses where you draw naked people. I can understand how many people might not be comfortable with that. But no, drawing from life starts when you sit down and just draw anything that's in front of you, really. Why is this so effective? Well, you might think you can just use the reference image from the internet and draw that. And of course you could do that. But the thing is, the reference image is already portrayed in 2 dimensions. It's flat, essentially. So when drawing, your brain automatically starts thinking about lines and shapes, and you might end up just copying those onto another canvas or piece of paper. The real magic of drawing from life is exactly that. Your brain has to do the work of translating the real world with 3 dimensions onto a flat surface with 2 dimensions. And to do that, you have to think about forms and not just lines and shapes. Or essentially you have to transform the real forms right in front of you into shapes and lines. And that's what will enable you to make your art look much more 3D. The second practice method is called iterative drawing. They say repetition is the mother of success. Iterative drawing takes this idea one step further. Instead of just drawing something over and over again and hoping for repetition to do its thing, you do this. You pick something you want to be able to draw better, say an eye for example, and then you pick a specific angle or perspective to draw this from and focus all your energy on just that. How do you know if your drawing was good and what to change from drawing to drawing? And if you're making progress at all? Of course, the key here is to use reference images. Without new input, your output can only be so good. You have to build your visual library. So pick a reference image and look at it for a while. Maybe draw it from reference once, but then draw it from imagination. It will probably not be perfect at first, but you can just try again. Before you do though, look at the reference image again and compare it to your drawing. You will probably notice something, for example the iris being too small or something like that. In your next drawing, just try to fix it. Each drawing should be a little bit better than the one before it. This way you can fix your mistakes step by step. And over time you may be surprised how good your drawings have become. The best way is to draw all your drawings on the same canvas or paper. That way you have a direct comparison of them all and a visual representation of your progress. Things can get really crazy when you combine this practice method with technique number 5, but I'll get to that later. The third technique is master studies. Put simply, a master study is a copy. Essentially, you copy the work of someone whose art style you love and who you feel is way ahead of you skill-wise. A real master of his craft. So you might already have done some of these unknowingly. Copying someone else's work is kind of a natural instinct for a beginner artist. And while it's a good way to learn, it does have some limitations. It's good because you get a great piece of art as a base to learn from. So there are probably effective values and great color choices and stuff like that. And just trying to copy those can teach you a lot about choosing colors, about rendering, about drawing details. But there's one thing that can make these dangerous, or maybe just slightly ineffective in the long run. It's that you only see the end result that the artist arrived at, but the process is missing. You see the awesome result, but you don't really know how the artist got there. Did he draw a quick sketch as a base and went straight into color afterward? Or did he make an elaborate, highly detailed underdrawing first? Did he start painting in grayscale and added color on top later? How soon did he add details? So while copying others' work can teach you to get to a similar result in your own way, you can't really learn anything from the process of the artist. And that's where the next practice method comes in. Watching tutorials. The right way. Now I know, this might seem like a cheap cop-out of me to put this here as a practice method. But I say the right way for a reason. The danger here is to watch tutorial after tutorial and not get anything done in the end. And believe me when I say, I'm as guilty of that as anyone. So what is the right way to watch tutorials? To get better at drawing or painting, you need to be active. It is something I've been thinking about lately. Instead of just watching tutorial after tutorial passively, Why not just watch them when you're in front of your paper or canvas and follow along? Of course, this is easier with simple step-by-step tutorials. But still, you could just try to copy whatever the person in the tutorial is creating. This might work for simple speed painting videos too. It might be discouraging if your result is not immediately as good as the painting in the video. But painting anything will be better than just watching a video and not painting at all. Technique number 5 is tracing. Intelligently. Tracing is often frowned upon, and I can see why. Just like with master studies, you are essentially reproducing a finished painting. But in a way, it's even worse. You are just bluntly copying already existing lines. There's almost no skill component involved. Basically anyone could do it, which by itself isn't bad. The problem is that you don't learn anything that way. Your focus will be on drawing cleanly and matching the lines that are already there, and not on building a drawing or painting from the ground up. So, how do you trace intelligently? Think about it like this. Instead of tracing the lines the artwork is made of, try tracing the forms the object is made of. Try to feel the forms and think of the simple forms the object is made of. Try to dismantle its parts. This will make you much better than just tracing existing lines. But there is a way to supercharge this method and to improve your art quicker than ever. Remember when I told you that you can combine these methods? Try combining tracing with iterative drawing. Personally, I did this years ago when I tried to learn to draw faces. I started drawing faces from just one angle, just straight from the front. No perspective, no emotions in the face, no nothing. First, I picked a reference image and traced it. But instead of tracing it completely, I tried to trace the essence of the face. Just some simple lines to capture the basic shapes. Then I drew the face from imagination as well as I could, based on this simple step. I drew that same face again and again. And whenever I felt like the result didn't come close enough to the reference image, I used this special trick. I basically laid the drawing over the reference image, one to one. This way I could see my own mistakes more clearly, and it actually taught me a lot about the proportions of the face. And I was able to improve my face drawings surprisingly fast. Combining these practicing methods can accelerate your progress a lot. But all this will be for nothing if you are still making the most common mistakes that keep so many artists from progressing. To learn how to fix these, click on the video that's on the screen right now.